On the number 3, Harley Davidson. He is holding off right now the 32 of Dallas Daniels. Dallas still on the Edison Racing Monster Energy Yamaha. That's Daniels on the 32. Briar Bauman on the 3. Brandon Robinson also switching over to Harley Davidson. He has help this weekend from Boswell's Harley Davidson. They're in the XG 750 power plant. Production-based motorcycles this year. There's the white flag. One more lap to go. Breyer's front wheel comes off the ground, coming off of turn number 2. He sets it down, grabs a handful of throttle off this final corner. Looks like the 44, the Revolver, will pick up the checkered flag. Right behind him, the 3 bike of Briar Bauman and 32 Dallas Daniels from Mattoon, Illinois. Taking a look at our FloRacing replay. Here's the 44 Robinson, the back tire coming up, or there was a front tire off the ground, leaving the throttle on, letting it all hang out. You're watching the FloRacing replay. That was group number 1. Up next is group number 2 of your Mission Super Twins. Up next, group number 2 of the Mission Super Twins. They'll be rolling onto the racetrack. The 27 is Wyatt Vaughn. The 96, Cody Johncox. The 11 is Daniel Poole. 48, Trent Lowe on the Honda Trans Alp. The 22 is Mitch Harvitt. The 19, James Ott on the G&G Yamaha. 91, Justin Jones. 56 is Jordan Jean. Corey Texter's on the 168. Michael Anderbitson is on the 54. 66, Logan Izard. The 911. Hammer and Hank Henry Wells. I'm Scotty Dubler up here in the booth, pleasantly joined by the Flying Tomato, Colby Carlisle. Colby, welcome to Daytona, but more importantly, welcome to the announcer's booth.
Scotty, I am so excited to be here, not only in Daytona for round 1 and 2 of the American Flat Track Series, but here in the booth with you. I'm so blessed to be here and looking forward to this entire season. It
is going to be a lot of fun. Colby Carlisle retiring from competition last year. You rode a few of these bikes that are out there right now. And then there's, of course, a few that you haven't ridden before, but I'm looking forward to your expertise on the sport of flat track.
I'm going to do my best to call it as I see it and hopefully give some inside information.
This is round number 1, second group of the Mission Super Twins. We do have 24 twins here competing with the new rule right now. Colby is production-based motors only, so there's no more Indians, no more Harley Davidson XR 750s, but the rest of the bikes, which is opening up to more brands out here racing with us in the Super Twins class.
Exactly. At some point, you could have gone and bought any of these motorcycles, the engines they're using at your local motorcycle shop, and I think that's so great for the sport. Now, it's going to open the playing field, allow more brands to come into the sport, and it gives everyone more of a starting point that's equal.
Keeping an eye right here on the 96 of Cody Johncox from New York. And here comes one of the bikes that you used to ride, the 19 of James Ott right there. Ott has got the nod to move up to the Mission Super Twins class. 19 is right there.
James Ott's been working his way to get to that seat for a long time. Been working so close with LJ and John over there at G&G Racing, and finally he's making the step up. And it's going to be a tough track for him. You know, he's a really good short track rider, especially on these bikes. He's done so much off-season testing, but Daytona's been kind of nasty in the past with how rough it can get. And he's a smaller rider, smaller stature.
Especially on a lot heavier motorcycle than he's ever been on before.
Exactly. It's an extra 100 pounds on that bike compared to the 450 that he was on.
Wow. Another rider's catching up to him right there behind him. Can't see exactly who that is, but there's another rider catching up to Johncox. It looks like possibly the 27. 27 is Wyatt Vaughn. New national number for him. It's going to be hard for me to get used to a 27 out there that's not Robbie Pearson.
Right, Robbie Pearson. He lives very close to me in Illinois. Now I live in East Peoria. He lives just about 10 minutes away in Washington, and it is weird to not see him out there. But Wyatt Vaughn, he did actually make a main event here in Daytona last year to be able to earn his national number.
So that was your second group of your Mission Super Twins. Up next is your AFT singles class, and that class is presented by Kicker Performance Audio. Kicker has a booth set up outside turn number 4 for you fans that are here with us. So there are a bunch of riders in the singles class, 34 total riders, and the fastest will move on to that next round. It looks like the singles is kind of stacked in here with the twins on our screen right now, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. If they're getting things sorted out. It's the first day of school.
It is, and it was cool to see right off the bat, the top 3 guys are all on new motorcycles for this year. Briar Bauman and Brandon Robinson switching to the Harley-Davidson, and Dan Bromley on the brand new Suzuki.
The only Suzuki that's racing is Dan Bromley, the 62. It's an SV800, a parallel twin.
It's cool. It's a cool bike, and I looked at it, and they've got it. They had a couple issues earlier on in the week, and they were able to get those sorted out. And new chain guide. Hopefully, he doesn't kick it off anymore.
Yeah, that happened up at Waycross, Georgia. There was a Steve Nace Racing and AMA All-Star race on Saturday, and he actually was winning that main event, and then the chain came off. Singles are on the motorcycle for you new fans. They're single-cylinder motorcycles. These start out their lives as 450 motocross bikes, Colby.
Yeah, these are just like the other ones where you can go and buy these at any motorcycle shop. These are motocross bikes that they race Supercross and motocross. You know, they come with a 21-inch front wheel, 19-inch rear wheel. So what they do is slam them down a little bit in the suspension and get a 19 on the front. And basically, that's how you can get going. It's the easiest way to get into this sport.
It looks like Terrence Santero is the fastest one on the racetrack right now. Nope, now Dalton Gauthier is the 79. And he's up there with the 18.637. Again, this is the only round of practice today. There was about 4 rounds of practice yesterday morning. The track has changed because Mother Nature watered the racetrack, and you can tell it's breaking up just a little bit. A few soft spots right now. There's the 63 and the 55. Trent Lowe on the big R Little Debbie Racing Honda, and the 55. That is Tyler Raggio. Raggio Racing, Sluggo Racing, KTM. You know, when he switched to the KTM about halfway through the season last year, Colby, it seemed like his confidence just picked up.
I spoke with him on Media Day this week, and he said the new KTM is way better for him. He instantly felt better than he did on the Yamaha, and he says this is the right change. And over the offseason, they were able to build a little bit on the bike, but his biggest thing was just his fitness and the level of seriousness he was taking for this championship.
Also on the racetrack is our defending champion. He says right now this might be the only time we'll see him is right here at Daytona. Cody Koppes at the top spot, 18.231 for your 3-time Daytona short track winners. Won 3 out of the last 4 here.
Yeah, and yesterday he was one of the only riders that didn't participate in the open practice day because he said he only had 1 bike with him to race. But I did see Tech 2 today, so if anything goes wrong with the first one, he does have a backup. But yeah, not taking the practice day yesterday and showing up here and immediately going to the top, that's just, you know, that's a Cody Kopp move.
Yeah, definitely. And he has committed to go road racing this year at Moto America. And so we're lucky to have him here. And he'll also be along during opening ceremonies to hand out the championship rings from Tommy Doom at TDFJ, the official jeweler of American Flat Track. That was practice group number 1 for the AFT singles presented by Kicker class. Again, 34 total riders. Only the fastest 32 out of qualifying will make it to the night show.
Absolutely. And I've been, you know, one time I qualified 32nd, and my dad was stressed, my mom was stressed, but I was really stressed. And especially here because, like, you can qualify, say, 18 or 20th, and then in the later groups go out, the more you go down and down the list when it gets grooved up. Today, I don't really think it's going to have a groove here in practice. I mean, it looks so deep and rough and starting to chunk up there off of 2.
This is a shot from turn number 3 coming down that back straightaway. Here we go back up to high outside turn number 1. That's the 15. Justin Anselmi got his new national number. He was number 115. He's riding for the Waters Auto Body team, Dave and Rhonda Waters, and they've retired from the auto body business, but that's still the team name.
Yeah, it's cool that they're able to keep going with that team now that they've retired, and they're able to put more focus maybe into the racing program, but at least be able to enjoy it more without having to worry about the business Monday through Friday.
The 57 right behind him, that is Ian Wolf. Ian Wolf on the Honda. He still has the number 157 on the back. He's got the national number 57 now. Reese Podorf, Reese the Beast, right there on the 46, right behind Ian. Just caught a glimpse of him. He's actually from Kansas, and there he goes. I like his leathers. They look good, the 46 bike.
Yeah, and you can start to see these guys starting to get a little bit of a line choice off of 2 here. You know, you can go below that rut, that berm that's really building up. You can see that there, like Reese Podolf just went below it. Or you can be like all the rest of the guys that are kind of going through it. Aiden Brown was able to turn down under it, which it's pretty deep.
And they did put 30 truckloads of dirt. Kit Kat Rental Store came out here and put 30 loads of the new White Moon dirt, we call it, out here at the Daytona Flat Track. And that happened last week, and so it's a little bit soft. They have to work it in. This is the first race. The Steve Nace races were canceled here yesterday because of Mother Nature, but there's a lot happening right now as we take a look at the times right now. Practice, it's still Cody Kopp, 1:8.231. Now it's showing Dalton Gauthier with a 19.223.
I like what I'm seeing so far, though, with the tracks not getting rough. Like yesterday, it was extremely rough, breaking bumps all out of the corners, violently, like the bikes were violently hitting them. Today, you know, it's just starting to, it looks like it gets in a deep cushion, kind of a berm.
So deep cushion, kind of like a Lima half-mile cushion, you think, Colby?
Yeah, so far it kind of does look like that Lima cushion berm that you try to bump up against.
This is group number 2 of your AFT singles presented by Kicker Class. We were looking at the 132 for a while. Now we'll go back to the 40. That's Olin Kistler. He's from the Pacific Northwest. He's also on the Waters Auto Body team. His Big P pulls out that checkered flag for group number 2. I like this speedy shot right here coming right at you on the front straight. That was group number 2. Up next will be group number 3. Again, 34 total riders. We got the 42. That's Lightning McLean Drucker. He's from Moline, Illinois. And then we got one of the twins, Tyler Cunningham, on the 225. His identical twin brother will be out there, too, on the 252. They're separated a little bit. First time ever identical twins have had AMA Pro cards.
Who do you think's going to make the main first?
I don't know.
You think it's a competition?
I bet it is in their pit area for sure. The 249, also another new number, Skylar Sintel, a third-generation racer from Cairo, Michigan. 110, Dominic DeMario from California. 278, a great story. We'll have a feature on him a little bit later. That is Maddie Beland. 101, Caleb Martin just turning pro. Trevor Bruner is in the singles class now. They call him Blackjack. He's on the 21. He's also back on the Turner Racing Honda team. 137 is a Colby, but it's not you. It's Colby Giamari. 105 is Ethan Kitchen. 252 is Dylan Cunningham, and the 94 is Flying Ryan Wells. Good to see him back in competition, too, with the AMA Pro Racing Circuit.
Ryan Wells, a 2-time winner here at the Daytona Short Track. He's the only guy in this class, in this group right now, Group 3, that has won the Daytona Short Track. Trevor Bruner back on the Turner Hondas, like you said, and he said this new Honda is the best 450 he's ever ridden.
Yeah, that's saying something.
He was extremely good on the Turner bikes. You know, I remember a specific run he had at Sacramento Mile, and the miles, those Turner Hondas were really good. So he just feels better back in the singles class now. And when you move from the twins back over to the singles class, excuse me, it's a transition that allows you to ride the bike harder because you're going from that 320, 340-pound bike back to a bike that weighs 230 pounds, and you can just manhandle it more.
It feels like a mini bike almost, doesn't it, when you come off a twin back to a single?
It feels funny for sure. Like if you do both in the same day, if you're racing a twin and a single, hopping back on the single, it feels like a little kiddie bike, yeah.
Sure. The leader right there hits a little bump in turn number 3, goes up the racetrack, up by the air fence. Here comes the new rider sneaking on through there. You hear him hitting the rev limiter about halfway down the straightaways. I know some people hit it right off the corner. They set up their gearing for that. I think you want to go a little bit maybe past the start-finish line before you hit the rev limiter, don't you think?
A lot of these guys have different preferences, and like you said, there's some that'll just tap it right out of the corner, and then other guys that'll tap it going into the corner. And that is just to try to get the bike turned in the center of the corner. You know, you've got that higher RPM, and yeah, you're sacrificing straightaway speed, but that's another point that you do it for, is you don't have as much corner speed going in. With the bike hitting that rev limiter, it's at that wall where it just doesn't keep climbing in speed.
So it actually will help you slow down, too, for the next corner.
Exactly.
249 right there. Skylar Sintel from Michigan, chasing one of the Cunninghams. That's the 225 of Tyler Cunningham. Identical twins.
Trevor Bruner up to 10th from this third group. And the track, this is a track where going out in the later sessions without track prep can either hurt you or help you, and right now I would lean it more towards the hurting side just because of how rough it's getting.
I would agree with you 100%. That's Colby Carlisle up here in the booth with me. I'm Scotty Dubler. This is our third group of practice for your AFT singles presented by Kicker Class. There's a FloRacing replay. That's the 21 of Trevor Bruner. Those bright blue rims. Look at him looking really smooth. Had his foot up early. Now just slides on the foot peg and grabs that traction. The front wheel comes up. He never lifted off the throttle.
Never backed out of it, and you really can't unless you're pointed straight at the wall. Then back
Then you
it down
have
a little
to, right?
bit.
You have to bend it over.
Yeah, it's time to turn it.
Up next will be the Royal Enfield Build Train Race Program. We got some new ladies out here. These are all female riders, and they're all on the Royal Enfield INT 650s. They went down to Dallas, Texas area and worked on their bikes, got them set the way they want. They're going to come out here and get a practice start. We got some new faces and some new names to go with them. So numerical order, the 2 is Michaela Nichols, the 5 is Emma Gotch, the 8 is Christiana Ross, the 11 Taya Little, 13 Julia Hess, 22 Hannah Robertson, the 28 Maya Maffei, who was really fast yesterday, 35 is Hannah Lang, 58 Mallory McGill, 113 Medelia Rodriguez, 182 Justine Marsh, and the 555. I've got to find my note right here. Did you take my notes already, Colby?
I don't think so.
I don't think you did either. I'm just giving you a hard
We
time.
gotta work
Giovannina Shipman. That is Sandriana Shipman's little sister.
It's like a crew chief rider thing, you know. Right now, me and you learning it.
Exactly. We got to learn the same lingo. This is actually a practice session for the Royal Enfields. They're going to do a little practice start right here. They got them lined up. Looks like one of them, the 58, having trouble getting the bike into the proper gear, or that she may have stalled it right there. I love how they can paint their bikes the way they want them, put different color wheels on them. Of course, their leathers are how they want to design them.
Yep, and it looks like all of them are in their Rye helmets. So they get to design, you know, design their leathers, design their bikes, and then they all get to choose which style of a Rye helmet they want to wear.
Yes, it's terrible. Yep. There's the 58. She's having an issue right there. She puts her hands up still. They don't want to let the clutches out if her bike's not going to be able to go. They might have to push her off of the racetrack and get her going. Nope, she's shaking her head. Nope, not yet. I think she's having trouble getting the bike into neutral. She says it's not running.
The international racing lingo of it's off.
Yeah, it's not, it is not running right now. Maybe give her a push off the track. I like the green color, though.
I like how they can choose their wheel color, too.
Oh, it looks like she got it fired up. There we go. Big P is our flagman, and that is Raymond Rizzo. He is the racing chaplain that goes to all of our rounds. Again, this is practice for the Royal Enfield Build, Train, Race program. Scheduled to have 12 of them. They can only be in this program also for 2 seasons, and at the end of those 2 years, you get to keep that motorcycle.
Yeah, that's cool, and it's great that they're able to keep the motorcycle, but it also allows a new class of girls to start joining this program and get to build their own motorcycle, design it, learn how to ride the motorcycles better. You know, they get to work with Johnny Lewis and learn some more skills. Not only are they going to get faster doing it, but they're also going to be able to ride these bikes safer, and it translates not only from the racetrack, but also over onto the street riding Royal Enfields in the real world.
They also do the Royal Enfield Build, Train, Race program in road racing in Moto America as well, and you know, maybe one day we'll see some of these ladies racing in Progressive American Flat Track.
Yeah, and that, you know, Shayna Texter, one of the great racers that I was able to spend a lot of my career with. She's getting up there in her career, so it'd be great if one of these girls could transition into that role.
Green flag is out. And those bumps are really hard on these heavier motorcycles. Not as much horsepower to pull out of the bumps too, Colby. So they got their hands full.
This is one of the tracks, you know, besides Lima and maybe Peoria, where it really takes a lot of muscle and you got to have full control of the bike.
Taking a look at the 13 right there. That is Hess. Julia Hess on the 13.
Yeah, coming out of turn 2 there, you can just see how deep the cushion's getting, and, you know, the bumps are starting to form there, and it's starting to build these berms up. So that is one thing where these bikes probably won't be able to turn the RPMs high enough off the corner to skip over it, but on the 450s and the twins, that's one thing where it's nice is you get that back wheel spinning enough where it'll kind of zing right across the top of it.
It looked like the 113 right there really let off the throttle to go underneath those ruts, and I think that was a very good move. Just moved her up to second, now back to third. Maticela Rodriguez on the 113. The rider that just laid down the fastest lap is the 5 from South Dakota, Emma Gotch, on the number 5 motorcycle. You hear that rider just went by here at the start-finish line on the rev limiter. Looks like they're all trying to miss those little ruts coming off of turn before, and I think that's a smart move right there. 58, Mallory McGill goes a little bit faster, up to a 24.285, up to 5th.
Matisella did a good job navigating that turns 2 coming off there. She didn't really hit the high cushion area or the low cushion area. She went right in the middle of it, so it's the smoothest area. And these bikes don't need to bump off that cushion. Just find the smoothest spot possible and don't overcharge the corner on entrance. Just kind of get in there and do just like what the 58's doing right there, just right through the middle.
How hard is it not to overcharge the corners, though? You want to put it in there as hard as you can, but you got to start slowing down sooner.
Yeah, it is tough, especially here where it's a track where overriding can be very easy to do, and you want to ride super hard on a short track. Like Brandon Price, he's one of those guys that can ride so hard on the short track, but the harder you ride, sometimes you're going to go slower. That's one of those cases where, you know, it's cliche, but it's go slow to go fast.
And that is hard to do if you're a racer. If you're born to go fast, it's very hard to slow down earlier than you want to. Giovannina Shipman on the number 555, Triple Nickel Racing. Her sister had a pro car just a few years ago. She's trying to make the pass on the 58 and does, coming to the checkered flag. Giovannina back there in the 9th spot. Emma Gotch, fastest in this first round of practice, 22.280 for the 5 bike, this South Dakota rider. Got them from Colorado, South Dakota, California, Ontario, Canada, Virginia, Oregon, Wisconsin, Montana, another Wisconsin rider, another New York rider, another Washington rider. So they're from all over the place in the Royal Enfield Build, Train, Race program. That wraps up our first round of practice already. That means the next time we'll see big bikes on the racetrack, it'll be already time for qualifying, because today and tomorrow, Colby, just 1 round of practice and 2 rounds of qualifying.
1 round of practice is new for this year. Last year, in the past couple seasons, we have gotten the opportunity to get 2 sessions of free practice and then 2 sessions of qualifying. Now they're switching back to just 1 session of practice, so it is a little more important to get the gearing right off the bat.
And that's a good thing we had some practice yesterday. Here comes the Caterpillar equipment. That means we'll take a quick break. We'll step off here. It is round number 1 happening tonight. Mission AFT Super Twins at the Royal Enfield Short Track at Daytona. We'll be right back.
The thunderous roar of progressive American flat track returns. Get ready for heart-pounding action as the nation's best riders battle bar to bar on the legendary Yamaha Sonoy Short Track. Saturday, March 29th. Non-stop entertainment for the whole family. A kid zone, fireworks, and more. Kids 12 and under get in free. Whether you're a die-hard fan or a first-timer, this is a race day experience you can't afford to miss. It's the 3rd annual Yamaha Sonoy Short Track. Saturday, March 29th. Get your tickets now at AmericanFlatTrack.com.
Gotta have a lucky charm when you ride, right? Makes you feel safe and protected out there.
That's why I never leave home without a photo of the little ones.
Bracelet from my husband.
Oh. Lucky rabbit's foot.
Lucky rabbit named Swoot. It's Swedish.
That's a whole rabbit.
Named Swoot.
Well, there's really no need for a lucky charm when you ride.
Not when America's #1 motorcycle insurance got your back.
We're just gonna ignore the fact that Carl has a rabbit.
Named Swoot.
Back on Track, a Rookies of 79 501c3 charity, was established in 2009 by former racers to help injured racers get back on the racetrack or the track of life. Assistance is provided to injured racers through our posted schedule of benefits and special fundraising programs, where 100% of your donation goes directly to ease the financial burden from an injury sustained on the racetrack. Check us out on the web at backontrack.com and donate today. Every donation is tax deductible and will make a difference in an injured racer's life.
Americans turn to RVing in record numbers as they pursue the spirit of freedom and travel exploration.
Life is more than what we've been told it's supposed to be.
The RV community is stronger than ever as family and friends seek quality time together.
To be free in this American dream.
Camping World has been a part of the American dream since 1966. Shop over 50,000 RVs with models starting at just $99 a month, only at Camping World.
Get ready, Jeepers. This April, the world's largest Jeep-only event is taking over Daytona Beach for Jeep Beach 2025. Jeep Beach is the ultimate celebration of Jeep life. Thousands of Jeep enthusiasts, hundreds of cutting-edge vendors.
And enter for your chance to win a 2025 Jeep Beach Edition 392 in Mojito Green.
Don't miss out. Register today at jeepbeach.com and join the action this April.
We're going full throttle with Mission Foods. There's no holding back American flat track when you combine the fiercest dirt track riders and tastiest products. Fully loaded tacos, fast wraps, piled high nachos. Whatever you crave, Mission will help you be race ready with easy to make recipes that will take your race day to the finish line. Keep your racing delicious and enjoy all the mouth-watering action. Brought to you by Mission Foods. Too fast, too tasty.
Kicker Performance Audio. For almost 50 years, we've been rocking the planet with our world-class product covering everything that drives you, whether in your car, truck, boat, motorcycle, side-by-side, or even on your head. Kicker Performance Audio's passion for bringing you your favorite music like you've never heard it before is what drives us. So wherever you need us, Kicker Performance Audio will be there for you.
Royal Enfield, the oldest motorcycle manufacturer in continuous production, is proud to return as title sponsor of the Daytona Short Track, which kicks off the flat track season for its teams. The 2025 Moto Anatomy, powered by Royal Enfield, features champion Johnny Lewis, now serving as coach to new lead rider Max Whale this year. In addition, Royal Enfield once again features a new lineup of build, train, race, all-female flat track racers that compete on the AFT Pro Circuit this year. This Saturday at Daytona Bike Week, check out the Royal Enfield demo area to test its newest models, including the Himalayan 450 and Bear 650, which are turning heads in the market. After Daytona Bike Week, visit royalenfield.com to find a dealer near you. Stop by and demo the ever-growing lineup of Royal Enfield premium-styled motorcycles, which come at very accessible price points and pay homage to the brand's storied history dating back to 1901. With VP Racing. Designed specifically for moto and power sports applications, VP's wide line of race fuels, lubricants, coolants, and additives give you the power and performance you need to win every lap and every race. Check out their championship-winning products today at vpracingfuels.com.
Tom Duma Fine Jewelers is proud to be the official jeweler for our 10th year to Progressive American Flat Track, providing championship rings for each class in 2023. Tom Duma Fine Jewelers wants to be your jeweler. Check us out online for all your jewelry needs, from engagement rings to fashion jewelry to watches, in all price points to fit everyone's budget. Shop like a pro. Shop TDFJ.com.
Progressive is proud to be America's #1 motorcycle insurer, protecting 1 out of every 3 insured riders. And they also offer coverage for your boat, RV, and other adventure vehicles. Quote motorcycle insurance online in as little as 3 minutes, or bundle your insurance together today. Rev up those taste buds with Mission Foods. Fully loaded tacos, fast wraps, piled high nachos. Whatever you crave, Mission will help take your race day to the finish line. Now that's too fast, too tasty. Racing is all about performance, speed, precision, and pushing the limits. Aeroflex brings that same mindset to liquid packaging with a design that's lighter, tougher, and better for the planet. Simply tear the tab, squeeze, and experience a better way to package liquids.
Americans turn to RVing in record numbers as they pursue the spirit of freedom and travel exploration.
Life is more than what we've been told it's supposed to be.
The RV community is stronger than ever as family and friends seek quality time together.
To be free in this American dream.
Camping World has been a part of the American dream since 1966. Shop over 50,000 RVs with models starting at just $99 a month, only at Camping World.
Craving a slice of heaven? Head to Giuseppe's Steel City Pizza in Port Orange, a family business 44 years strong. It's not simply a pizza place, it's a destination. Whether you want a simple pepperoni pizza or one of our numerous signature dishes made from our amazing secret family recipes, you won't be disappointed. You can dine in, take out, or get delivery. Giuseppe's Steel City Pizza. Welcome to the family.
Gotta have a lucky charm when you ride, right? Makes you feel safe and protected out there.
That's why I never leave home without a photo of the little ones.
Bracelet from my husband.
Lucky rabbit's foot.
Lucky rabbit named Sfoot. It's Swedish.
That's a whole rabbit.
Named Sfoot.
Well, there's really no need for a lucky charm when you ride.
Not when America's #1 motorcycle insurance got your back.
We're just gonna ignore the fact that Carl has a rabbit.
Named Sfoot.
The thunderous roar of progressive American flat track returns. Get ready for heart-pounding action as the nation's best riders battle bar to bar on the legendary Yamaha Sonoy short track. Saturday, March 29th. Non-stop entertainment for the whole family. A kid zone, fireworks, and more. Kids 12 and under get in free. Whether you're a die-hard fan or a first-timer, this is a race day experience you can't afford to miss. It's the 3rd annual Yamaha Sonoy short track. Saturday, March 29th. Get your tickets now at AmericanFlatTrack.com.
Welcome back to the Royal Enfield Short Track at Daytona, round number 1 of Progressive American Flat Track. I'm Scotty Dubler in the booth, and joining me this year, you might have known him as the 2017 AFT Singles Champ or the Flying Tomato. It's Colby Carlisle. Colby, we got 1 round of practice in the books. Now it's time to cinch up that steel shoe a little bit tighter, tighten up your right helmet, and get ready for some qualifying. Now you got to go right now, right?
Absolutely, and it's so important here because the front row, because that first corner so always gets that first corner chaos. So to get in the front row, you're able to avoid that chaos. Sometimes you might end up starting it, but at least you won't be caught up in it.
So the front row means you got to qualify in the top 8 spots because there are 2 heat races in each class.
Exactly, and that's how you want to start your day off with on a good note. You know, there's been times though where, say, Trent Lau last year, he crashed in the heat race and came all the way from the back of the heat race back to the front. So it doesn't necessarily matter, and tonight the track's looking like more of that way where it's kind of a cushion and you can actually ride it.
Well, with it being that loose, Colby, these guys, I saw Dalton Gauthier was putting hand guards on. I know some people might be putting something inside their leathers to keep that loose dirt from hitting them so hard.
Yeah, especially early on in the day when the rocks, you know, they're starting to sift their way to the top, and throwing those rocks, they hurt. I mean, I saw some earlier and they were about the size of a quarter.
How did you do when you raced here?
Not great.
Why not?
I actually, this is a funny story. I talked to one of my best friends about, hey, like, man, should I race on Wednesday? There's an amateur day. And he goes, no, probably not. You were never good there.
Well, at least he's a true friend and was honest, right?
He was trying to save me the punishment. I just never did good here. This track, it's so unique because it's a track where you have to ride super easy because the dirt is so hard and so slippery. Even though it's got that cushion, it is just so slippery and slick. But you have to ride soft, but you have to also ride hard.
It's a very different dirt. It's white dirt. Chris Carr, when I was working with him, he started calling it moon dirt. They put 30 more loads of moon dirt on the track last week. You know, just a few weeks ago, this was a parking area because we're just outside turns number 1 and turns number 2 of the Daytona NASCAR track. There it is right there. The World Center of Racing is just behind the banking where the spectators sit.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's the same exact dirt as it was before. Where do we find this dirt? No idea. It must be under lock and key somewhere.
Secret.
Yeah, Area 51 kind of stuff. But it's the exact same dirt. I talked to some of the riders. It feels the same. It's got the same kind of rocks. So it's all the same material. It's just newer.
And yesterday there were 4 rounds of practice for all 3 of the AFT classes, the Mission Super Twins, the AFT Singles presented by Kicker, and also the Royal Enfield Build Train Race Program. After that, there were scheduled to be a Steve Nace Racing AMA Vintage and Amateur National. Unfortunately, that did get rained out. But what that did do is it really watered the racetrack, and then they dug it all up and they packed it back in. That is a little bit of a mister, in that water tank that's out there right now. So they're trying not to overwater it because there is water below from all that rain yesterday.
Yeah, and that's going to come up later tonight. We're close to the ocean. The moisture is going to come up. It always comes up. But we got a lot of rain yesterday, not just a little rainstorm. You can still see the puddles of rain over there in turns 1 and 2 on the inside of that berm. I mean, it poured.
Yeah, it sure did, and unfortunately, the amateurs and vintage riders they did get to run earlier in the week up in Georgia. Got to get some seat time up there. There was 2 half miles in a short track in Waycross, Georgia, and so they did earn plates for how they finished throughout that week. The water truck is going around. Hey, Brad, are you there? Yeah, we went. Yeah, Zach said let's keep talking. So the water truck is going back around right now. A couple more laps. So we're getting ready to get started with our first round of qualifying for all the classes. Again, we saw they will go out in the same order as that round of practice. So Mission Super Twins will be up first. Then the AFT Singles presented by Kicker will be next in Royal Enfield. Again, 2 rounds of qualifying. A little bit different than last year. Last year we had 2 rounds of practice, 2 rounds of qualifying. The benefit is it's a little bit shorter program here tonight for the riders and the teams, and also the spectators. They did get a full practice session, 4 rounds of practice in yesterday. So I think it'll work out.
Yeah, it will. And I was talking to Corey Texter earlier, and he's like, yeah, I was bored, so I came here at 10, and he's just excited. I talked to him a little bit yesterday. He had no reason to come back. It's just kind of his friends were bugging him, and it was a challenge. So this is something that, it's a challenge for him. He's the kind of guy that wants something like that. So got off the couch. You know, he had that ACL injury last year, and, you know, his fitness is coming back, and he hasn't been able to ride motocross like he normally wants to train for this because, you know, as a flat tracker, we don't get the amount of seat time actually riding on ovals and flat tracks as we want. But, yeah, it's a challenge.
It definitely is. So there are 2 groups of Super Twins. Corey Texter that you just mentioned, Colby, will be in that second group because he doesn't have any points. He also will be running a 3-digit number because he didn't have any, you know, he didn't race last year. So he'll be number 168 to, you know, the 68 kind of honoring Ryan Varnes.
Yep, honoring Ryan Varnes, close friend of Corey Texter.
The water on the track just real slow, kind of packing it in. Also, there's some weight on that.
Scotty, so this, I don't want to age you. This is year 17 for you.
Yes.
I saw that earlier. It's public information.
Public knowledge now?
Do you still get that same feeling coming in here to round 1? Not only like the time, I mean, it just feels special coming here to this oval. You've seen multiple versions of Daytona over your years. This is the only one that I've ever known.
Gotcha.
But do you still get that special feeling?
Yeah, you know, it's always fun to be at a racetrack no matter where it's at, but when you know it's the season kickoff, you know, the first race of the season, you know, I could feel the excitement in the air yesterday, and it was just practice day. Now today, the intensity is, you know, that it's all ramping up for today. You know, like I said earlier, kind of like the first day of school, but it's the first, you know, race of the season. It's the 16-race season. I'm so excited to get back to it.
I am too, and I'm so excited, especially for the Twins class. You know, there's just a lot of anticipation for me to see how these riders are going to adjust to these new production motorcycles.
Yeah, they're trying to pack it in just a little bit. It looks like I'm trying to see if that's Steve Moorhead behind there, but they kind of got the window shade down there blocking us, so we can't really see who it is.
It's sunny out right now.
It is sunny. It is chilly out. It is a wind out of the north. It's kind of chilly. It's I was expecting more warmer weather down here.
Yeah, it was good earlier in the week. It has chilled down. You know, the wind kind of brought that cold air in. But Steve Moorhead, if he is behind that truck, he's just trying to get it more packed in because this place, you know, you can see the moisture on top a little bit if you're going slow and standing there. But it's so slippery if the water comes on sitting on top like that.
So we're getting it packed in. We'll get back out there as soon as we can when that track is clear. We'll come up with our qualifying action. Mission Super Twins are up next, and a former Mission Super Twin rider just sent you a message a little bit ago.
Absolutely. Bronson Bauman, not here with us this year in Daytona Beach, Florida. I believe he's going to be doing some select rounds. He's building his own motorcycle right now to come out later in this year. But I appreciate it. I've gotten a lot of love and support from all my old racing friends and colleagues and even fans. You know, they've been so supportive of me, and this is something that since I got hurt in 2022, I got the opportunity to do this with you in Lima, and it just felt really good. I enjoyed it a lot. So to be able to get this opportunity to be here and actually do this the real thing, you know, for a real race tonight, this is special for me.
It's a little safer in here as well.
Yeah, the body. I was playing golf earlier, and my back started hurting playing that.
Oh,
like,
my gosh. Yeah.
I'm old. Well, the body's old. The brain's still young, but the body's old.
Okay, I got you. I'll give you that. So how young are you?
I'm 27, coming on 28.
And you're retired.
Yeah.
All right, I like it. There's the Mission Super Twins.
Yeah, I'm retired.
Semi-retired.
Yeah, semi-retired.
We'll go with that, just in case you start riding again. Pulling them on up. Again, a lot of riders on different brands of motorcycles, including the 44. Got some help this weekend from Boswell's Harley Davidson. He rides for Mission Foods Roof Systems of Dallas, Texas. The 44, the Revolver, who has won here before. Brandon Robinson goes really good at this short track.
4 wins, looking for potentially his 5th win tonight. He is tied right now with Sammy Helbert for 4 wins here at Daytona Short Track.
And, you know, some people call it a crapshoot, and it kind of is, but sometimes some riders just figure it out. Like, you know, Cody Kopp has won here the last 3 out of the 4. Also, Dallas Daniels has won here the last 3 out of the 4. So they've got it figured out lately, but anything can happen at Daytona.
Yeah, I mean, it's a crapshoot, but there's 8 minutes, so as long as you can avoid that first part of the crapshoot, Brandon Robinson always seems to be able to find his way towards the front.
And he lives right down here in Ormond Beach now, originally from Pennsylvania. The tall rider on the 44. He's got Dallas Daniels chasing him on the Monster Energy Estenson Racing Yamaha 32 bike. Look at him scrub the front end going into 3 already.
Right now with the moisture still down from that water, it'll be a little bit easier. Briar Bauman goes up to the top side of the track. Not sure what's going on there, but you see that grader was able to smooth out all that cushion, but you can see that the bumps and ruts are still there, especially coming out of turn 2.
I wonder if Breyer was just trying to get away from somebody, kind of spread himself out just a little bit.
Avoid some rocks potentially, yeah.
Yeah, maybe get some clear racetrack in front of him.
It is qualifying, though, so it is time. You don't have a lot of laps to mess around.
Yeah, 19.03 for Brandon Robinson. Here's the FloRacing replay. Breyer's going slow, just, again. And so's Maxwell trying to get out of the way, maybe. They want to run at the back of the pack.
Yeah, I mean, you can see all those rocks sitting right there. It hurts. I haven't been retired that long. I still remember what it feels like here.
Yeah, I'm surprised there's not more hand guards on some of these twins. I know some of the singles riders.
A lot of riders don't elect to use them. You know, sometimes in the close quarters, going into the first corner, you can catch them on another rider. I would probably try to put one on, but Davis Fisher up to P1 right now on the new bike. He has switched over to the KTM 790 for this year from the Indian.
And that's still on the Rackley Racing team, and Ben Lau was riding that KTM last year, so it's not a new bike for the team, but it's a new bike for Davis Fisher.
Yeah, they had Ben Lau out there who's sitting out right now. He had a knee injury come up, and he was able to start developing that motorcycle. And Davis Fisher, you know, he was able to test about 2 times this past season. He also, another huge contributing factor for Davis is he has Jimmy Wood, Jared Meese's old suspension tech, on the team full-time.
And I was just told from the media day that they bought that engine off of eBay.
See, that's the benefit. I did the same thing back when we rode production Kawasaki's. I bought my bikes off eBay, and it was only $800 for one of them.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's a nice thing about these because, unfortunately, these bikes, you know, riders get in crashes with them and they end up totaling the frames. So these dealerships will part out the motors, and then you go on eBay, you buy one, you know, $800, $1,000, whatever it is. You can do it KTM, Yamaha, Kawasaki, any of these brands, and then build a bike around it.
Here, taking a look at Davis Fisher, who we're just talking about. He's getting a little bit sideways, getting the roost from the 32, catches a rut, goes up the racetrack just a little bit and grabs a handful, another bump right there. The good thing is he barely maybe even cracked that throttle and kept it on. So they got their hands full out there again. The biggest rule change for the Mission Super Twins was, of course, going to production-based motors. So you can, originally these motors came out of street bikes that you could go buy at any kind of dealership, and it's also going to open up to several different brands.
Yep, it does. It opens up. It brings, you know, a few more Harley Davidsons back in here, and it also brings in the new Suzuki with Dan Bromley.
Yeah, the SV800 parallel twin for that Suzuki. The only Suzuki that's racing with us, and the 54 was going really strong. We had a question coming from the back side of the truck. Yeah, a good thing about this new rule is you can go out there and buy an engine off eBay if you don't get one from a dealership.
Yeah, absolutely. I seriously bought both of my Kawasaki engines off eBay, and I was going to buy my Yamaha engine that I was going to build in 22 off of eBay as well. I mean, you can, that's a way you could sponsor a rider if you're sitting at home and want to get your foot in the game. You know, buy an engine off eBay and move it onto a rider.
And you just pointed out that Dan Bromley's on it's listed as a GSX 8S.
Yeah, so it's a new motorcycle that Suzuki just came out with, and they've been road racing it over in the Twins Cup class in Moto America. And it's got a couple different variations. It's like the Yamaha MT-07, where you can get it in a few different variations. You know, a street bike, a naked bike, and also an adventure bike.
The Tenere?
Yep, the Tenere.
Tenere, there you go.
I've ridden one of those a few times. Fun.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Man, do you still have a motorcycle at your house?
I got a couple too many. I need to get rid of some. But right there, we've got Trent Lau on a new motorcycle on the 48 Transalp Honda.
There goes the 19, one of your former bikes out there. James Ott on the G&G Racing Yamaha just went by the start-finish line. The time to beat right now in round number 1 of qualifying, Davis Fisher, 1:8.849. You got Bauman up there second, 1:8.947. Dallas Daniels, 1:8.956. So far, nobody in this one's moved up there close. This is group number 2 of your Mission Super Twins. The 911, Henry Wiles up there right behind Sammy Halbert. Wiles lost his national number last year. We've always known him as number 17. He's running number 911 this year.
I believe 911 is the number he also used at the Loretta Lynn's Amateur Motocross National Championship, which for him to qualify for that, you know, be in the fjord, you got a red flag.
Don't want to see that. Got to ride her down. Turn number 3 is the report. There it is. It's the 11, another new national number. That's Daniel Poole from Gaffney, South Carolina. He did choose to run the handguards. Yeah. He had a couple of different chassis when he went through tech inspection. There was a couple of different motorcycles, but they'll push that Kawasaki back or here to the hot and the cold box. Daniel Poole from Gaffney, South Carolina.
Yeah, right there. That was one of the J&M side shocks. So the shock is actually on the side of the motorcycle rather than in the middle where it typically would mount to. One notable rider up there is 5th place, Trent Lowe on the Honda Transalp.
Yeah, and they are actually now parking that underneath the Turner Honda umbrella team, and it's got a lot of people helping out that team down there. Randy Triplett is down there. Kenny Coolbeth is down there, man. They got there they are right there. Randy Triplett on the left and Kenny Coolbeth right there on the right, helping out Trent Lowe on that 48, who is sporting new font on his number 48. I love it.
I like the new font, and he's actually the opposite. Bruner said that he felt better going back to the single. Trent says he feels a lot better riding the twin. He feels like that's more at home.
Well, I mean, it's just all in rider preference, what you feel best on. So that sounds like a good move for both of them.
Exactly, and it's such a different feel between your legs.
Oh, Inderbitsen trying to get that 54. Looks like he lost fire in that one. So that's Michael Inderbitsen riding for the Weerbach Racing Team, the Weerbachs out of Iowa. And there's Hammer and Hank Henry Wiles, the king of Peoria.
Looking sporty right off the bat, looking aggressive. James Ott trying to catch a toe and try to see exactly where Henry's riding, maybe to be able to catch some lines from the veteran rider.
You might as well. You learn whatever you can, right?
Yeah, especially with James because he's so young in the class. I mean, this is his first time racing a twin at the professional level. So if he can learn something from Henry, someone who's done so well before in this class, not only on singles but on twins as well.
You can see him get bounced up out of the saddle going into 3. I'm talking about 19 of Ott, who's trying to keep up with the 911 of Henry Wiles.
Henry's won here before on a single, but he has never won here on a twin.
There goes the 66 Logan Eisenhardt, who has also moved into this class. He's on one of those Weerbach Racing Kawasaki's. Trent Lowe still in that 5th spot. You called it earlier, Colby. Hanging tough right there in 5th.
Yeah, it's impressive to get. It's impressive for him to start like that, and it's going to feel good because this isn't a practice session like last year. Going back to the pits, this would have been free practice 2. Now it's qualifying 1, and the track's going to keep getting rougher and rougher. So if the track stays like this, where qualifying 1's faster than 2, he's going to be sitting front row.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. And he said his starts have been decent on this thing.
Sammy Halbert up there 6th in this first round of qualifying. Davis Fisher's sitting on the pole right now, 1:8.849. Breyer just a little bit off, 1:8.947. It's really, really close. Dallas in 3rd, 1:8.956. And Brandon Robinson sitting 4th, 1:9.034. And we were talking about the 911. I think he's the one that's impressed me the most out of this group back there in that 6th position.
Yeah, Henry Wiles, he's on a linkage chassis, which I think the linkage chassis is going to pay off today because the linkage is allowing the bike to soak up those ruts and bumps a little bit more. But we've got Cody Kopp, the 3-time champion, coming back. Fastest in free practice today, able to get a good run off there, and you just see how these bumps are. But these 450 singles, they will soak this up better than those twins will.
Because that is basically motocross suspension that has been lowered down, so it's not as tall as a supercross rider from the other side of the bank over here, but it is more forgiving suspension than probably on a twin.
It's more forgiving. Cody Kopp runs completely into the wall there on the back straightaway, but I don't even think he lifted. But like Cody specifically, that shock is full moto length. It's the same length because these bikes over the years have been getting taller and taller. Us riders, we've enjoyed having the taller bike, the more stiffer setup, and here we got a replay of Cody Kopp nabbing this wall and just, it just gets a little upset and stays in it the whole way. And he bounces off the wall there, but you see all that dirt piled up.
That's the loose stuff that brushes off from the straightaways, and some of it's probably getting drugged from the corners that brushes up against the wall. So the back tire hit that, and then it sucked the front end into that back straightaway wall at almost the same time. And there's Tom Drain right there. He picked up 1 win last season when we were here on that 59 Estenson Yamaha. He did fall off in turn number 3 and 4 yesterday. It deployed the airbag suit, but didn't seem to really slow him down at all. Drain sitting right there in the 3rd position. Dalton Gauthier up to 2nd, 1:8.849. How about Cody, 1:8.60, and he didn't ride practice yesterday.
No, and Cody was a few tenths of a second faster in free practice as well. He's setting the tone. But this is a track like we talked about with B-Rob where, this place can sometimes be a crapshoot. Cody's one of the guys that can come here, and no matter how much or how little he's been riding, he can be expected to go for the win.
Yeah, he's won 3 out of the last 4 races here at Daytona Flat Track. Cody Kopp on the 1. Dalton Gauthier sitting 2nd. Renshaw is up to 3rd, the new number 65. Used to be number 265. He has moved up to 3rd. He has moved over to the First Impressions Husqvarna team this year.
Yeah, working with my old crew chief and mechanic as well, Andrew Butler. And the big thing for Evan is, you know, a lot of his amateur career, he was on a steel chassis with the KTM, and then he went to the Turner bikes, which are great motorcycles, but it's a different chassis. It's made out of aluminum instead of steel. And it seemed like he never was able to gel, and he was kind of open about that at the end, where he never really gelled with the chassis. And until Lake Ozark, that's when he got his best finish, so the last race of the year. So maybe finally it was coming together for him, but immediately back on the steel chassis, this is where he feels like he belongs the best.
All right, getting questions sent in to us here in the booth, and they're wondering if, since Corey Texter and Henry Wiles have a 3-digit number, are they eligible for Rookie of the Year? And that is no, because they've raced in this class before.
No, they are definitely not allowed. That is something. So, like with James Ott, he wanted to race at Springfield Mile last year, but he didn't want to void his chance at getting Rookie of the Year. So he waited until this year to start doing it.
There's Dalton Gauthier putting on the back wheel. He goes so good here, and I'll talk to him a little bit later. Actually, we're going to show the pit walk a little bit later. I had some fun with him during the pit walk, but he's just out here having fun.
Always with Dalton and his crew chief, Robbie Bobby. They're here for the fun. And even in the past, you know, Dalton came here, we'll ride for food last year. And,
exactly.
It's just, you know, good vibes. And he's another one like Cody. He can just show up here and be expected to win. Dalton won here back in 2016.
That was his first career win.
Exactly.
Yeah, he goes good out here, and kind of sometimes have to let it all hang out and, you know, not afraid to twist that throttle a little bit when it gets deep and rough, and he seems to be able to do that.
And both Dalton and Cody have in common is they're both tall riders, long arms, long legs, able to really move the bike around, and that's something that Brandon Robinson has talked about, where you have more leverage of the motorcycle here to get it turned.
Yeah, in some racetracks, a tall figure hurts you. On a short track, I think it can only help you.
I agree. I agree completely, and this is one place where Jared Meese in the past has had some struggles and wasn't able to get some of his best finishes, and he's, you know, a shorter statured rider.
I'm going to tell Jared you said he was short.
No,
I'm just kidding.
Shorter stature. I didn't say short.
Okay, good.
There's an
I
ER on the end
was putting some words in your mouth.
Yeah. Don't.
He's going to be here, you know. He knows where the booth is. So
He's a championship wrestler, too.
Should I lock it?
Yes, please.
All right, we're locking the door, Jared. This is group number 2 of your AFT singles presented by Kicker Class. The 15 is Justin Anselmi on a new ride, doing it for the Waters Auto Body KTM team. 57, Ian Wolf. 46, Reese Podor. 40 is Olin Kistler. 23, Aiden Brown. 132 is Bronson Pierce. 28, Landon Kowzak, a new number. 43, it's Kill Switch, Jacob Vandekoy. 56, Jordan Jean. 83, Braden Fanders, who only got to run one race and then got hurt at the second race of his career last year in Texas. And then Landon Smith, who's going road racing this season. He is from Florida, up there by Pensacola. He's on the 87 KTM. He's parked over there by Robbie Bobby and Dalton Gauthier, but might be the only time we see him is here this weekend.
Aiden Brown there. Love the purple wheels. He's got that color match so good on that bike and the leathers. He does have a spoked wheel on the back, so he doesn't have the full color scheme on. So he must be trying something with the spoked wheel.
I think it weighs a little bit different.
It would be lighter. It would definitely be lighter than his mag wheel.
Is that good or bad?
Well, it depends. I think that a heavy wheel here is good just because you get that inertia going, so it has a better chance of getting over those wheels. It's just more inertia, so then it has a hard time. It allows it to get over the ruts basically better. You know, it has a harder time grabbing it and making it wheelie, kind of like Cody Kopp's bike did.
Gotcha. Justin Anselmi on the 15 goes up to 9th in this practice session. Just went by. This is our first round of qualifying for you folks just joining us here live or watching on FloRacing.
The track's holding up a lot better tonight than it was yesterday. Yesterday, coming off these corners, it was just so rough, and the holes were chunking out really bad, and it's looking pretty decent right now. You know, it's not taking that rubber blue groove. Here in Daytona, you really have two options. You know, it kind of either gets that rubber blue groove around the bottom, or it kind of gets rough, and you can kind of just slide around on the cushion. And I prefer it this way. I think it's better racing this way. You can be, you know, it's more of a rider's track. You can ride harder and actually make better passes, where with the blue groove, you're kind of stuck with what you got.
Or you got to go in there and move somebody out of the way, possibly. 132 is just out there. Bronson Pierce on the new A1R Racing team. He'll be teammates with the 26 of Aiden Roos Evans. Bronson Pierce is a full-time FIM Supermoto World Supermoto racer, and he up there qualified so far 17th. His teammate Roos Evans is up there in the 7th spot so far. This is group number 3 rolling onto the racetrack right now for the AFT singles class. Again, this is qualifying. This is how they'll get qualified into today's heat races a little bit later on. And there are 34 singles, and only the fastest 32 will move it out of qualifying into tonight's show. So 2 riders will be spectators up here just like we are.
Yeah, 2 riders are going to have to try to find something. You do not want to be one of those 2 riders going home, but fortunately it is a doubleheader, so you get to take something from today into tomorrow. But 32 guys, and man, I'm not used to being qualifying 1 already.
Yeah, it's already going quick, and this is the last group of the singles class. There's the 101, Caleb Martin, another. Oh, gets both legs going, flailing off the foot pegs. Now he gets it going the right direction. Just as we'd caught him, it looks like he hit one of those bumps over there.
Well, he's behind a good rider. He's able to follow Trevor Bruner on the 21 now. Get some experience there. Trevor knows his way around here. He also gets passed by the 278.
Matty Beland. What a cool story that is. He got hurt in New Hampshire, and this is his first race back with us here at Progressive American Flat Track. When he got hurt, they found cancer when he was in the hospital there, and they've got that sorted out. But we'll hear more about that a little bit later on. But the 278 out here on one of Bromley's motorcycles, it looks like possibly a Suzuki, but I thought Dan was the only Suzuki out here. So we'll have to figure out exactly if that is a Suzuki.
He's pulling a card out of my book where I used to make bikes look like different brands. I used to have an orange Honda when I won Charlotte in 2016, so that's actually a yellow Honda.
Okay, that's a Honda.
But Bromley's got a long heritage with Suzuki, their family dealership, so.
Well, his uncle Steve races a Suzuki in one class and a different brand in one of the other classes he races in, so I get it. There's Blackjack 21, Trevor Bruner. See how good he can do coming out of this 3rd group here in the singles class, trying to get qualified in. The reason he's in the 3rd group is because he doesn't have any points because he was in the Mission Super Twins class last year where he won the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, he is in that. I'm trying to figure out exactly. He's in 21st in qualifying right now, which that seems a little bit unordinary for Trevor Bruner and a rider of his caliber, but I'm trying to think maybe is the track in these later sessions getting slower because it's rougher, or is he just having a little bit of a hard time adapting to the track here today?
Gotcha. Robbie Bobby sending me messages from the pit area right now, just telling us to keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, we're trying. No, but Trevor Bruner will come around here and grab the checkered flag this time by.
He's going to have to pick it up for this second round of qualifying, or he'll have a long night starting at the back.
Yeah, he ended up in 15th here in qualifying 1, and we will end qualifying 1 with Cody Kopp, your 3-time champion, with an 18.606, about 0.2 of a second better than Dalton Gaudier in 2nd place. Cody's coming out and immediately making a statement.
Yeah, and this might be the only time we see him is right here in Daytona, so we'll see how that works out. But he 1:8.606 is the quick time for Cody Kopp. He's on his own personal KTM now.
Evan Renshaw in 3rd, too, kind of alluding to that point I said earlier about tall riders. All 3 of those riders are above 6 foot tall.
And then you got Santero back there 5th. He's also tall. And then Chase Sadoff, we haven't even talked about him yet today. He's up there in the 6th position on the Rick Ware Racing KTM. I'm sorry, he's on a Honda. That's my fault.
Coming into this year, man, and this is round 1, and I feel like there's a lot of riders we haven't had the ability to talk about yet.
So far, it's going so fast. Here comes the Royal Enfield Build Train Race Program. They're going out. This is their qualifying session. Checking out the racetrack. Again, qualifying number 1 is right here for the last group of qualifying number 1. It's the Royal Enfield Build Train Race Program.
Look at that beautiful sun
It's
getting ready to
setting.
set over there.
Gonna get a
Back stretch of Daytona.
It'll get a little bit cooler out there.
Moisture's going to come up.
Means the track will get faster.
Could get slicker.
Covering both bases, Colby. I like that. That was the politician answer.
I'm trying to, but no, it'll at least let the riders be able to chase that cushion up the track if the moisture comes up.
I'm just giving you a hard time, Colby. Royal Enfield's out there. This is their qualifying session right now. You hear some of them on the rev limiters earlier than others, and they can go back there and change the gearing on their bikes. There are a few other mechanics back there helping out. Johnny Lewis is here, also Maxwell's pitted right there with them, but they can make some changes to their bikes according to how they feel.
And they're doing it themselves, correct?
Yeah, but there are some mechanics there too that can help out and oversee things.
Yeah, but it's part of the program that they kind of teach them and help them learn this.
Yep, absolutely.
That's so cool.
They're starting on the INT 650s, and there's the 113, and she's got the 5 right there behind her. Emma Gotch, the 113. Maticela Rodriguez, one of our new riders. Actually, those are 2 of our new riders. Here's the 113. Going off into turn number 3. And Emma Gotch. I've been told that she is really fast on the ice. Did you ever try ice racing growing up in Canandaigua, New York?
I didn't try ice racing, but I tried ice riding, and it had a blast doing it. And honestly, it led to, we catches a hole there, able to gather self together going into turn 3. But I was just about to say that these girls are doing an amazing job at finding the smooth way around the track. You can kind of see they're coming a little bit lower on the front straightaway. They're avoiding those big holes and big divots. Unfortunately, ended up catching a hole there into 3, but probably won't do that again. Able to take a mental note and make sure that it comes in a little bit lower. Let's check it out.
And these riders are also tutored by Johnny Lewis, national number 10. He also does the slide school, and they've got a brand new FT450. There's one on display over there at the Royal Enfield tent. If you do go down to the pit area, with your paid admission ticket, you can go to the pits and go check out everything down there in the pit area. But Johnny has that FT450 over there, and he's taught all these girls, giving them, tricks and learning them how to ride these big, heavier motorcycles than probably they've ever ridden before.
At least for sure on this level of dirt racing.
Absolutely.
I'm sure they've all ridden motorcycles on the street, or at least they have by now with the Royal Enfield program. But to be able to do it on a surface like this where it's breaking apart, it's really slippery, it's inconsistent, it's great that Johnny's able to help them, guide them along the way.
Sure is. As Raymond Rizzo throwing the checkered flags out there, the assistant flag man, and he's also the chaplain that goes to all of our races with us, and that was Ray Rizzo throwing out the checkered flag. Julia Hess, fast time in the Royal Enfield class, 2:1.835. Maticela Rodriguez second on the 113. Emma Gotch is third on the 5. Mallory McGill fourth on the 58. And Shipman on the 555. Giovannina on the 555 is fifth. The cat equipment coming to the racetrack right now. All right, so we've met Colby Carlisle. Of course, I'm Scotty Dubler. Let's go to the third member of the crew. The wonderful Kristen Beat is down there in the pit area. Kristen, what's happening down there?
Yeah, so Jason Kale just rode in on this beautiful Harley Davidson, the CVO-RR, if I'm correct. You guys spent so much time, R&D, developing this bagger to have this beautiful race trim style design. Tell me about that process.
Yeah, we're really excited to have a factory race team back at Harley again, but especially in Moto America road racing. And this, the RR, the race replica motorcycle, represents everything that we've done over the last 4 years and everything that we've developed associated with the race bike, and then bringing it back in and making the most premium street legal race bike that we could.
The Baggers is such a fun series to follow and racing to follow, and it's so accessible because these bikes are street legal. So this is one of the most competitive, souped up street legal bikes you can find, presented by Harley Davidson. You guys actually unveiled this bike earlier this week at Bike Week. How proud are you of this bike?
Well, it's great to be here at Daytona and part of the race weekend. It's really great to be able to show how racing influences the brand and how we've been able to develop and create such an amazing product, and to launch the most powerful Harley Davidson, street legal Harley Davidson ever delivered in the 122 years is really great.
It's incredible. So I know it's kind of hard because out here with the live event, we're also getting a reflection. So me and Jason are kind of talking through it a little bit. So you probably wanted to close this out quick, but I'm going to make you stay with me a few moments longer because I just want to talk about some of the design elements on this bike. As we mentioned, it's inspired by race trim data that you guys worked on. So show me and walk me through some of the features that reflect that race trim data.
Yeah, well, the crown jewel of the motorcycle is, of course, the powertrain. It's a 131-inch cubic inch powertrain that puts out 153 horsepower, which does make it the most powerful ever from Harley Davidson. But not only performance in terms of output, but also lightweight. So we've taken over 50 pounds off a standard road glide. You will see carbon fiber from the back to the front of the motorcycle. Everything that we've done in kind of a bright aluminum finish is custom machined, made specifically for this bike. Learnings off the racer.
Harley Orange too. I'm loving seeing the Harley Orange back in the Bagger series. It's just so fun to watch and so fun to follow.
This is our Racing Orange in particular, and it goes back to the flat track days with Harley Davidson. And we had the factory race team in flat track, and Willie G came out to the track and saw the orange, our typical Harley orange color, and thought it needed a little more racing element to it. Mixed in a little red back in the shop, and this has been our Racing Orange for the past several decades. So to bring it back in that livery on this motorcycle is also really special. It's a tip to the hat to Willie, as well as our flat track heritage.
And it's so cool because how modern this bike is. It's being met with all of that history and all of that heritage. I mean, thank you so much for bringing it out here to the flat track paddock at the Royal Enfield short track at Daytona. I mean, this Harley is just stunning. I don't know if our camera can get any closer, but just show the guys in the booth. Scotty, I know you're probably drooling, and Colby Carlisle, I know you want to order one of these bad boys, but just check out some of these features on this bike.
That thing is beautiful, Colby. You were looking it up online. Like, I think, are you getting ready to order one? Is that what you're doing over here?
I am. I'm not sure if the credit card's going to go through, but 150 foot-pounds of torque and 150 horsepower.
I love the orange and black, too, like the old XR 750, you know, and it's cool to see that Harley-Davidson is getting back into racing. This is, you know, for Moto America, and then, of course, we've got the Harley-Davidsons here with Briar Bauman and Brandon Robinson, who is sponsored by a Boswell's Harley-Davidson, which is really cool. It's tying it all back together, you know, to the dealerships, to the factory Harley-Davidson team, and we're looking to get Harley-Davidson back in our sport.
It is cool. I had a great time when I came back in 2022. I spent the money. I bought my own XG 750. That's the same bike that both Brandon and Briar Bauman are racing on this weekend. One of my favorite bikes I ever raced. I loved it. It came race ready. It was ready to go straight from Vance and Heinz, and those guys are going to have a good time on it here tonight.
And speaking of Brandon Robinson and the XG 750, we caught up with Brandon earlier. Let's check it out.
Yeah, the Boswell Harley-Davidson deal is pretty cool. It's a unique one-off event deal where they're partnering with us for the Daytona Flat Track, and it's cool to get some dealer involvement back in the sport. It's kind of been one of those things that's been missing, you know, in recent years, and so even though it's at a small scale, it's important to have that, you know, opportunity to represent them and work with them, and hopefully that entices more dealerships to get involved with the sport, you know, in the future. That's kind of what the whole deal is about, is trying to have a relationship with them and the riders, and hopefully we continue this for not just myself but other riders in the future.
There's another look at the Harley-Davidson that just rode up here, and that thing is beautiful. Colby, I think they should let us take it for a spin, maybe one lap around.
What we're going to do is we're going to duct tape your hands on and send you around the Daytona 200 course like they're racing next week.
I don't think so.
What would it take?
Money. No, it'd be fun. I'd like to take it down, you know, A1A down here and hang out down there by the beach on that thing, but I don't know if I want to hold it wide open. That thing's a beast.
You'd spin that thing around, Scotty.
It'd be fun. Doing a little track maintenance out here right now at the Royal Enfield short track at Daytona. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, round number 2 of qualifying.
For over a decade, Dunlop has supported all progressive American flat track classes with their premier flat track tires. Designed for professional and amateur riders alike, Dunlop's DT4 has an aggressive tread pattern, is available in multiple tread compounds, and can be run tubeless for greater overall performance. Dunlop, the official tire of progressive American flat track. Racing is all about performance, speed, precision, and pushing the limits. Aeroflex brings that same mindset to liquid packaging with a design that's lighter, tougher, and better for the planet. Simply tear the tab, squeeze, and experience a better way to package liquids. Hey race fans, are you looking to take your welding skills to the next level? Trust Lincoln Electric, a leader in welding solutions for over a century. From top-notch equipment to innovative technology, Lincoln Electric powers your projects with unmatched reliability and performance. Elevate your craft with Lincoln Electric, where quality meets innovation. Visit LincolnElectric.com today. Light Shoe has been building quality steel shoes for flat track racers since 1998. They serve the flat track community worldwide, building custom hot shoes to fit individual needs with the rider's unique style in mind. With more than 25 years of experience and a 1-year unconditional guarantee, you'll know you've made the right choice when your foot touches the ground going into turn 1. Join the Light Shoe crew. You'll be glad you did. Craving a slice of heaven? Head to Giuseppe's Steel City Pizza in Port Orange, a family business 44 years strong. It's not simply a pizza place, it's a destination. Whether you want a simple pepperoni pizza or one of our numerous signature dishes made from our amazing secret family recipes, you won't be disappointed. You can dine in, take out, or get delivery. Giuseppe's Steel City Pizza. Welcome to the family. Craving a slice of heaven? Head to Giuseppe's Steel City Pizza in Port Orange, a family business 44 years strong. It's not simply a pizza place, it's a destination. Whether you want a simple pepperoni pizza or one of our numerous signature dishes made from our amazing secret family recipes, you won't be disappointed. You can dine in, take out, or get delivery. Giuseppe's Steel City Pizza. Welcome to the family. Light Shoe has been building quality steel shoes for flat track racers since 1998. They serve the flat track community worldwide, building custom hot shoes to fit individual needs with the rider's unique style in mind. With more than 25 years of experience and a 1-year unconditional guarantee, you'll know you've made the right choice when your foot touches the ground going into turn 1. Join the Light Shoe crew. You'll be glad you did. It's Full Throttle with Mission Foods, a proud sponsor of American Flat Track. Mission is ready to fuel your race day with mouth-watering snacks and easy-to-make recipes. Now that's too fast, too tasty. The founder of Arai Helmet was the man who created the first motorcycle helmet in Japan to protect his own head, and as a result, launched the Japanese motorcycle helmet industry. Arai focuses on glancing off performance, accumulating small differences decade after decade to further ride protection. Learn more at AraiAmericas.com.
From the flat track to the strip to the street, it's ARP Fasteners for your bike. The speed demons of American flat track racing trust ARP. When failure is not an option, it's ARP-bolts.com.
Kicker Performance Audio. For almost 50 years, we've been rocking the planet with our world-class product covering everything that drives you, whether in your car, truck, boat, motorcycle, side-by-side, or even on your head. Kicker Performance Audio's passion for bringing you your favorite music like you've never heard it before is what drives us. So wherever you need us, Kicker Performance Audio will be there for you.
Hey guys, hope you'll join me this September for our first annual American Bike Fest. Set to be the premier motorcycle and music event of the Northeast. We'll have a VIP and first responders ride, live concerts, camping, vendors, a kids zone, beer garden, food, and more. I'll be there all weekend and we'll be bringing some of our favorite bikes and friends from American Chopper. For tickets and more information, go to AmericanBikeFest.com.
And welcome back to the Royal Enfield Short Track at Daytona. It's night number 1, round number 1 of Progressive American Flat Track just outside the World Center of Racing. We're outside turn number 1 of the NASCAR track. I'm Scotty Dubler up here in the booth, and joining me is the 2017 AFT Singles champ, Colby Carlisle. Colby, so far 1 round of practice in the books, 1 round of qualifying is in the books. If you're out there racing, what are you trying to do to go faster right now?
Just keeping a good eye on the track. I'd probably be up there seeing exactly what they're doing, seeing how the graders work in it. We're making some bike changes. You know, at this point, we're either got the gearing dialed in or we're really batting our head against the wall. You know, should we hit more limiter? Should we hit less limiter? Little bit of bike changes. It's just, it's at that point now where you kind of got to ride.
Well, you're not dirty yet.
Yeah, well, not me. I don't want to ride.
But here.
You know, all these guys are riding, but it's like time. You know, you might watch a little bit of film from your mechanic filming and just, it's so hard. Like I said, you have to ride hard, but you have to ride easy, and it's such a fine line. And that's why guys like Brandon Robinson and Sammy Helbert over the years have been so good here, because they're able to find that line.
And then you also have to be aggressive at the same time. You have to tie it all in together and be aggressive by getting in the corners, try to go underneath somebody, or try to force your way through.
Yeah, like one of my early memories here is the Jared Meese, Johnny Lewis.
Oh, yeah.
You know, came together in turn 3 on the last lap, coming to the checkered. Matt Weidman, another New Yorker, ends up coming out with the win, but it's just one of those things. If the groove's like that, you have to bump into the guy to try to get by him.
Yeah, sometimes you do. Sometimes you have to, most of the time you go to a short track not to make friends. You kind of lose friends sometimes.
You definitely do. You can definitely lose friends. That's probably why I didn't go as far in my career, because I never was able to bump into people. I did not like doing that. That was my least favorite part.
I got you. So
but one guy right there, number 92, he loves to get a little physical on these short tracks. I was talking to him about it earlier.
And he was so fast here last year. I know he actually burnt the inside of his, I think both legs, if I'm not mistaken. Then I think if that wouldn't happen, he might have ended up on top of the box.
I think this year he's even poised for more. I talked to him earlier, and I said, where do you see yourself? Like, is it time to win? And he's like, well, his crew chief said, well, of course it's time to win. I go, but seriously, like, you've got second last year, and when you get in that place, you almost get complacent. Like, I've never gotten a podium. I want to do it. And he said, yeah. But this year, it's like, I've done that now. I want to get on the top step, and I'm willing to take that extra risk. Could I throw away a podium? Maybe, but I want the win.
And he actually hired, Jared Meese's former physical trainer, Jason, who is here today helping on his nutrition, his fitness, what he eats. He's supposed to, he reports back to Jason, and Jason's actually helping one of the Royal Enfield ladies as well.
And I think that could be the difference for him from getting that second to the win, especially with the track being so rough and physical. This is what it could take for him to get that last little bit.
Yep, here they come onto the racetrack. This is our final round of qualifying. Again, the fastest 8 will secure themselves a front row starting spot in their heat races. There'll be 2 heat races, and of each class, except for the Royal Enfields, they have 1 heat race, but they've definitely smoothed out the track. The Cat rental equipment did a fabulous job smoothing off those bumps right now.
Yeah, they did, and you see Brandon taking it a little easy on this first lap, and a lot of the guys taking it a little easy. That's because they don't know how much water's still down on the track. Hard to see with these shields. A lot of these guys still wearing smoke shields with the sun just setting, so Brandon took it a little easy there. You don't want to slide out on the first warm-up lap, but now they're able to all get after it.
And also, you're not sure if that dirt has just filled in those ruts or if they graded off all the way through. As we can see, some of the dirt got pushed into those ruts, so we'll see how long it can stay smooth. Right now, I think the earlier groups have a little bit of an advantage.
Yeah, I think so too. Just the dirt is a little bit smoothed out, and these first laps typically end up being the best. It's almost like Lima, where the later in the session, sometimes those lap times are slower. But Billy Ross, a short track specialist, getting his first win, ends up popping up to second, but that's the first lap, and it changes just like that. Brandon Robinson getting a little wild off turn 2 there. That's those bumps in the chassis snapping.
Yeah, so Ross jumps up to the top spot for just a moment, then Briar Bauman takes that over 19.142, so the track is slowing down a little bit from the last round so far. Again, they're just getting it figured out as we look at the 3. Harley Davidson, Briar Bauman out there.
Briar Bauman electing over there in turns 3 and 4 to go way above the bumps the whole way through the corner. Let's see if he's just trying stuff. In this session, he makes a mistake there into 3. Stays up above the bumps, cuts down, tries to go through them. Doesn't get too out of shape there. Davis Fisher had a really unique line yesterday where he's coming in super high and squaring it off, trying to avoid the bumps. These guys are going to do what it takes to try to go either straight across them or go around them. You can't just ride through them. That's what upsets the chassis.
And okay, Davis Fisher trying everything out. This is a brand new bike for him. Again, Ben Lau helped get that thing dialed in the last couple of seasons, but this is Davis's first year on the KTM 790. Is it Duke or Super Duke?
I think it's a Duke.
All right.
But yeah, Davis Fisher with Jimmy Wood as well, who he's been a close friend with, and now that Jared Meese is done racing, they were able to acquire him on that team. And Briar Bauman right now, 19.1, ends the session on top so far. Davis Fisher on the KTM in 3rd. A guy we have not talked about today, Dallas Daniels. 6th place right now in the Yamaha. The big change from last year to this year, I don't know what level it's going to have impact. They took away wheel speed sensors.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, they definitely took away traction control, the wheel sensors, trying to even it out for everybody in the pit area. So, yeah, this is just the second round times we're looking at. So, when we combine the times, he might not be back that far because it was a little bit faster in that first session.
Yeah, we're going to have to see where he was in the first session, but it's something that we need to talk about. But right now, all these guys, at the end of the second qualifying round, you're allowed to get 1 practice start. You're not allowed to just do them at any point. Sammy Helber getting a couple. Neither of the first 2 looked very good, so he's going for the 3rd.
If anybody's going to push the rules, it's that guy.
Yeah,
right.
For sure. I mean, the black flag ordeal last year. Are we allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, I don't know. It happened.
But yeah, no, that Harley Davidson.
Here comes group number 2, and Davis Fish was fastest in the first round of qualifying with a 1:8.849 so far. He's still fastest on the leader charts. We have the combined totals right here in front of us. So that is combined times. Is over here is the overalls. That's the session, and this is the last lap. So we're taking a look at the timing and scoring up here, just like you can watch on the app, on your phone, on your laptop if you're at home, or on your tablet, just like Colby has up here in front of us. So you can keep track of it just like we are up here in the booth.
Yeah, and Dallas Daniels, we were talking about it for a second there. He is in 3rd overall right now, so that is better than his 2nd session being in 6th. Maybe they ended up just trying something, or he just didn't feel the track the same way that way. But there's the number 48, who's currently 5th overall on the Honda. Looking good, man. Really surprising. No, he sounded really confident. I asked him, where do you expect to be? He didn't have an answer. It was just simply up front.
You know, a few years ago, I watched him, ride a Kawasaki twin at some of the Steve Nace races, in different parts of the country, and he does look like he feels more comfortable on a twin, and it's just a preference of a rider, right?
He's handling that thing well. I mean, you see going into 3 there, he hits that bump with his front wheel, and he's not allowing it to upset the chassis that much. He's just getting it turned, and that's such a huge point here, is being able to get it turned and go through the bumps, straight through them, not bump into them and let the chassis get all upset.
So look at the 27 bike. Another new number out there. 27 is Wyatt Vaughn from Michigan. There's the 91, Justin Jones. He's making the move up here to the Mission Super Twins class. He's riding for first impressions on a KTM. Justin Jones got his first career win here at the Daytona Short Track as well.
A local rider to me. I grew up, his family helped me a lot as I was learning, and that bike's a lot different than what he's been on. It has a fly-by-wire throttle, so there's no throttle cables on the machine, and I've talked to him earlier, and he's struggling to adjust to that a little bit.
Have you ridden with the flyby? I haven't ever ridden one.
No, I said it 6 times today that I wish I was going around feeling them all, trying to get a feel for it, but I wish I knew what it was. And Corey Texter stops on the outside of turn 4 there. But yeah, the fly-by-wire throttle is a lot different than the carburetors. Just you don't have the same feel.
Yeah, that 27 looked like kind of bounced off the wall. That's red, Wyatt Vaughn. There goes Corey Texter now getting up to speed on his Corey Texter Racing, the CTR logo on the side of the gas tank as we go back to Justin Jones on the 91. First impressions, KTM, as the checkered flag is out. 96 across the line. John Cox sitting back there, 22nd overall in 2nd session.
Trent Lau, 5th overall throughout qualifying. What an impressive run. Able to line him up for front row in the heat race.
Yeah, the other side of the truck really loves coming to the Daytona flat track for the first race of the year because all the bikes look amazing. They're all different than they were last year. A lot of different pilots on those motorcycles, and I would agree with Brad Jones over there on the other side.
Yeah, and along with that, not only the bikes look amazing, most of these guys all have new racing suits, new designs coming in. Both Corey coming in hot towards that camera,
right towards the camera.
But
he's coming to our living room.
Yeah, he was close, giving me a little scare.
I guess so.
Making sure we're awake. I fell asleep when I was announcing his cut race.
I can throw this away.
We are done with Q2 in qualifying for the Mission Super Twins class, and we will go right into Q2 of that AFT singles class here. Cody Kopp has been dominant so far today throughout free practice and qualifying 1. Let's see if he's able to finish it out here in qualifying 2.
Kopp out there on the Bob Lanphier KTM tonight. He's got that big number 1. Sometimes it's a target. It never seemed to bother him one single bit.
No, and I think it bothers him even less because he's just doing these, few off races here at the Daytona Short Track, focusing on road racing this year, so he has nothing to lose.
He is really slim because he is so tall. When he's out there on that 350 road race bike, the lighter you are, the faster you're going to go.
What he said, not only getting lighter, but he's been doing yoga to get more flexible because he has to get so small. He's tall. I mean, he's probably 6'3", so he's got to be able to get tall on that little GP-style bike. So he's been doing yoga. Might pay dividends here, being able to move that thing around a little bit better between his legs and his arms.
That was what he was telling us over there at the media day. We had that a couple days ago at one Daytona.
Yeah, let's see what he's able to do here, but this is exciting. I'm just so glad to be back here in Daytona.
Oh, there goes the one of Cody Kopp on the ground. Just comes around on him.
Just slid outside. It's just odd crash. Just slid out on him and back up. And
yeah, no problem because he's okay. Watch the back end. There goes the front end. That just came around on him.
Yeah, just no explanation there. I mean, it looked normal, just as every other lap. He's probably just as confused as us. Let's see if this shows anything more. You know, he turns that front end in and just catches his foot a little bit, but no, nothing. Just kind of slid around on him. Daytona short track.
Yeah, there you go. And he is running the hat guards too. I know Dalton Gauthier was putting them on when I was over there earlier today, and he just reaches down, tries to grab the clutch and keep it going, and he's going to downshift a couple times, get right back out there.
And he's got that new custom painted helmet. I messaged him earlier, and that thing is pretty cool looking. And
I don't think it hit the ground, so I think he's okay.
No, I bet he was just as confused as us. Coming up on 26, Aiden Roos 7s, he said, hey, I crashed already in this session. I got to get a lap in.
Yeah, he's trying to lay down a heater so he can get qualified. He's still top spot because they're combined the times from round 1 and round number 2.
And even in this session, Cody Kopp is still first with 0.3 of a second faster than Chase Sadoff, even though he went down in the number 49. Chad Coase, see him on screen there, is third in this session. So you might not have the overall time that you wanted because Q1 is faster at the moment, but you know, your bike's getting better, so Chad's able to have confidence going into that heat race.
Absolutely. Let's go down to the pit area one more time. Kristen, who you got?
A rider we'll be seeing after Sonoy who isn't quite ready for Daytona because he's not 16 yet, Walker Porter. A lot of people have said that you are the future of flat track. Walker, tell me about getting ready to make your flat track debut and what that has been like.
Oh yeah, to get ready for this, I've been down at Johnny Lewis's training all summer, or winter really, with the whole Turner team, and just ready to get to it. Just got to wait till May 14th, and it'll be Lucas Oil, and be ready to get after it.
What has your experience been like racing flat track, coming up throughout the ranks? People like Johnny Lewis have coached you throughout your career. I actually heard from a bird earlier today that Johnny may try to keep his number in the premier class just so when it comes time you can inherit his number. That's pretty special.
Oh yeah, it's been pretty cool training with Johnny Lewis. He's taught me a ton of stuff, probably like all the stuff I've known, and just it'll be cool if he keeps the number for me. Yeah.
Keeping it on hold, watching the Daytona short track, watching practices and some of the qualifying sessions. What are you noticing about the track?
Track looks pretty fun. It's getting pretty gnarly at the later sessions, and just wish I was out there, really.
What are you most looking forward to about your flat track debut?
Looking forward to just competing at the top and just putting it out there for Mike Turner.
Well, best of luck this season. We're going to see you a little later on. I think you mentioned, where will we see you for your debut?
Lucas Oil.
Lucas Oil. So a little later this summer after he turns 16, this youngin' is going to make some waves when he does make his debut, guys.
That is the Alabama Slammer, Walker Porter. He'll be on the number 100 Turner Racing Honda again. He doesn't turn 16 until May, so his first race will be June 7th. That just recently announced it'll be the Lucas Oil racetrack in Missouri. So it's got to be hard to come here and just watch.
I had to do it. That's how I started. So I ended up racing. My first race was on July 6th. I turned 16 July 5th. And so I jumped in halfway through the year, and it was Hagerstown, Maryland. That was my first round. And yeah, you do want to be out there. You don't want to miss the beginning of the season. I'm exactly like him, where I was here watching the professionals when I was 15, wishing I could be out there.
Yeah, and it's just a rule. It's been around for a very long time. You know, you have to be 12 to be on a 250, 14 to be on a 450, 16 to get your professional license. It's just the rules.
All right, Scotty, you know what I'm seeing that I'm liking right now?
Tell me.
The lines. The lines going into the corner. So right there, it's more predominant in 3 and 4 here. So these guys are coming in high and longer, and they're turning across it. So when we come time for racing, like Olin Kistler right there, he could have straight lined him. And so we're going to have more and more passing. You know, they're going to do track prep between now and then. But these guys are coming in higher, and we don't have that blue groove, which just means better racing as the night goes on. And it's not as rough as it was yesterday. It's still got some bumps out there. But we've got a good night of racing ahead of us.
But who's going to be gutsy enough to go in high when you got somebody right there on your back tire and then try to come up? That rider will go up underneath you. So you have to be confident enough to be further ahead of that rider to go into those corners a little bit higher.
Yeah, you have to do it, though. I mean, if it just takes one lap to get that extra couple bike lanes and clear them. But, you know, you're right. They could get straight lined at any point and lose the position, and then you start losing ground to the guy in front of you.
Here's another look at the FloRacing replay. That's Reese the Beast Podorf going a little bit wide, and you can see that Olin Kistler could have maybe squirted up underneath there, and he elected to back off instead of T-boning the 46. Maybe if that was a heat race, he could have grabbed the throttle, went in a little bit deeper, and you know, try to block that line.
Yeah, he would have had to adjust his line a little bit, but that was where I saw it. Or Reese's, you know, their guys are coming in. And times here, they'll build the track differently. They can shape the corners differently. Very circular today, very just round corners, very oval type of track. Last year, they built a straightaway in the corner, which makes you do that kind of thing when you come in higher and then cut down off the corner. This year, it's round, but these guys are electing to go in higher.
And sometimes the track will be completely different from the first night to the next night, which is awesome.
I expect that. Here
comes the next group, the final group of qualifying for your AFT singles presented by Kicker Class. Some new riders racing with us. Here's another look at the 46 Reese the Beast. He's looking backwards, taking it sideways, and hits a couple of bumps right there. And I like his leathers. I like his new kid. Looks good.
And a new number.
Yep, new national number 46. Chris Armentrout used to run that number, if I'm not mistaken, a Wichita, Kansas rider. I used to race against him.
How do you remember all these?
I don't know, man. Just been in this sport my entire life.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping I can follow in those footsteps.
All right, come on with me.
17 years down the road, and what if we're still doing this together?
I'll have to have a cane.
I'll probably have a cane too, Scotty. We'll get 2 for sale. But Here we go for the final qualifying session. This is the final group of AFT singles we will see until it is time to race. And right there is one of the Cunningham brothers. We've been joking about this. We got to figure out 225 and 252. I think they're doing this to mess with us a little bit.
They definitely are. One was 5A, one was 2A when they were racing as amateurs. Now they're up the pro ranks. And according to Bert Sumner, who knows more stuff about flat track than anybody in the world, he says the first time identical twins have ever had a pro license. All right, so while the singles are wrapping up, let's go check in one more time with Kristen Beat. She's down there in the pit area.
Yeah, guys, as we entered this Royal Enfield Daytona short track, one of the most talked about riders coming into the race week was Dan Bromley, the only rider in the paddock on a Suzuki, also one of the fastest riders during practice and qualifying. However, during one of the early practice sessions, you guys probably talked about it in the booth, but a rock actually broke his oil line. And so in between each practice and qualifying session, they have been trying different oil lines to either replace them, they borrowed one from Harley Davidson, or try to find an oil line that might fit this bike better. But during each session, it has unfortunately been leaking small amounts of oil, and obviously that's no good if you're trying to get this bike race ready. So they're trying to figure out an oil line that actually fits this bike. I can tell down here they're actually trying to secure it to the bike to make sure that they're not going to have any leaks during the race. But Scotty, you could probably illustrate this better than me. A, what is it like to be on a bike where you know something like that might go wrong? B, how devastating is it after a rock came up and essentially changed his day from being one of the fastest practice and qualifying bikes to now? And for Dan, I just spoke with him a minute ago, and you can tell this pit is thrashing to get this bike ready to go.
Kristen, it's super hard because they don't have a backup bike, so there's nobody else who can go borrow the exact same oil line. They're trying their best to do with what they got. You know, they borrowed one from Harley. Whether those fittings are the same, they don't know. They're just hoping that they're the same size to go on the to get all plugged in.
Yeah, there's 2 parts here. One, if they can find a part, it's Daytona Bike Week. You know, we might have to go down Main Street to steal something off someone's chopper. But 2, if anybody can handle this, it is that guy right there, Dan Bromley. He is able to ride any motorcycle anytime, kind of like a Johnny Lewis, you know, ride anything, make a national on anything. So Dan, you know, he might look flustered right now. That pit's absolutely thrashing. But when it comes time to race, this is all going out the window as long as there's no oil leak. And we don't need another Sammy Helbert incident. But Bromley's a guy.
Yeah, it's a bummer because he was really fast yesterday, looked good earlier today, and now they're struggling right now. The good thing is I didn't see any oil being laid down. I don't see any smoke, so hopefully he didn't hurt the engine when he lost the oil line.
Yeah, no, and he's got, you know, uncle over there, Steve Bromley, great mechanic. They've been working together for so long. One time Steve actually had to put a clutch in my bike here when I was younger racing. Yeah, I hope they get it together. Only Suzuki in the pits, and it's just cool to have another brand, just like we're talking about now that we're in production, another brand joining the sport.
Final round of qualifying of the Royal Enfield Build Train Race program is on the racetrack right now. The quickest time so far was in round 1 was the 13, and that is Julia Hess. She's from Monterey, California. She's sponsored by Rod Lake, one of my former sponsors. She's on that 13 bike. There she is. And they can go out and get their own sponsorship to help with their programs too. That is all part of it. It's teaching them every bit of this sport.
Yeah, it's just so cool. And like you said earlier, they're able to own these bikes after 2 years, and 2 years in the class, and they get a fresh class of girls in here able to do this. And they're competitive. They're feisty. They want to be the top dog in this class.
Well, they all want to win. They all want to get on the podium, and you know, their families are watching. A lot of their families traveled with these young ladies. You know, they built these bikes about a month or two ago in Dallas, in the Dallas area. They all got together and got, you know, the camaraderie, just like the normal riders in American Flat Track. You know, we all know each other. We grew up around each other. Well, these ladies now have become friends, probably lifelong friends, because of this program, the Royal Enfield Build Train Race program.
Yep, and they all pit under one semi-truck together. They're all together all the time. They do the classes together with Johnny Lewis, and they get to show up here after building those bikes, and they got a turnkey setup. Most likely, we're going to have no issues. Built the bikes together with mechanics. They're all very similar platform, and it's just at the end of the day, who's got the most skill and who's got... There's a very difference in this class, though, is some of the girls have a lot more time on motorcycles, and some of them are brand new to riding.
Yeah, some of them are never raced flat track before. I know, you know, they also have the same program we mentioned a little bit ago in road race, and you know, it's just an awesome platform to get ladies racing in flat track, and hopefully they can, you know, make it to Progressive American Flat Track one day. There's the 5 of Emma Gott. She's from up there where I'm originally from, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and that's where she's around that same area, that number 5 bike. She's actually from Sioux Falls, the same town.
Something in the water?
Maybe. There's a cool racetrack up there in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. It's the Sioux Valley Cycle Club.
They're getting close coming off at turn 4. They are all bunched up. They're getting ready for the night's race, and all the times so far, there's different groups that the times, like right there, we've got 6th through 9th, and they're all within, you know, a couple tenths of a second. Right now, we've got Julia Heese up front running a 21.835.
Yeah, Justin Marsh is the slowest right now. She had a little bit of a scary get-off last night or yesterday morning in practice. So she told me earlier today she's just going to take it easy and see how she felt. So if she didn't feel comfortable, she wasn't going to race today.
Yeah, we were both sitting there when that happened. That was a scary incident. Glad she was able to get up and be able to race today.
So the 13 fastest in both rounds. Looks like, well, I can't confirm that. She's just the fastest overall, as we have the overall screen in front of us here. So the 13 will be on the pole. Julia Hess on that 13 bike is quick. Taya Little, this is her second year with us. She's from Welland, Ontario, Canada. She is very fast as well. And Maya Maffei was very quick yesterday on that number 28 bike. So all the qualifying action is done. The pit area is open for you spectators if you all go check it out. That is all night long. We're going to take a break in the action. Opening ceremony is coming up at 7 o'clock Eastern.